So moving on, what's next? Kitchen. That's the next thing you've got in a camper van. So on the Grand we've got a 2-burner hob, and we've got our sink. And what we've also got is hot and cold water. We're going to have a look at the Ocean in a second, but the Ocean's got both these hobs and it's got a sink in there, but it's only got cold water. So that's one difference. That's there, you've got hot water in the Grand where you don't have that in the Ocean. And then obviously you've also got cupboard space underneath in here, so you've got a nice big drawer and individual drawers on here. And we'll show you the storage option in the Ocean that's there as well. And then finally you've got your fridge on the end, which you've got your big deep fridge and your freezer. So your main two differences on the kitchen area between the two vehicles are hot water and your freezer compartment. All the other things you've actually got in both vehicles. Okay, it might be slightly smaller hob, slightly smaller sink for example in the Ocean, but it does what it needs to do that's on there. Again, the fridge is slightly smaller, but it's still a fridge, it still has those same functions. So in the Ocean we've got our two hobs. Size wise probably identical, if not slightly bigger than what you actually have in the Grand. And then we have our sink. Again, the sink's pretty much the same, slightly shallower than what it is in the Grand, but again not a big difference that's in there as well. So you've got that that's there, and then further over here we have the fridge section. Again, really good size, as I've said before, it goes really deep. Good volume area that's in there as well, very similar to what they have next door, but it just obviously hasn't got that freezer section, but it can still keep things very cold in the bottom of there. And then finally, storage space in the kitchen. We've got two big cupboards there and one in there with a cutlery drawer. Heating in both vehicles is very similar. So we've got the diesel heater in the Ocean, which is standard, you get that on the coast as well. And then in the Grand we've got our gas-fired boiler, which covers our heating and our hot water, so it's combined in both. Obviously it is an option to have a diesel version as well, as they do from on there, but we're just looking at side-by-side comparisons. But essentially those things do exactly the same thing. So they're both heaters, they both heat the vehicle up, so no differences there really. One of the big differences is that hot water, which we've already talked about in the kitchen area, and we'll talk a bit more about in the bathroom, which is what we're going to do next. This is going to be a very obvious one now, but obviously this is the biggest single difference between the two, and this obviously is the bathroom pod. So in here we have a toilet, we have a sink, we have a shower, and we have storage as well with inside the vehicle as well. None of those things are available on the Ocean. You can get a porta potty. It's not something that we do that's on here, but there are lots of customers who've got them, and you can store that within the actual vehicle as well. So if you do need to get a porta potty, you can, but again that's more of a temporary thing, it's not something that's built in. But this is where the big differences we see, is actually having this bathroom facilities here. And the last thing is about storage. So obviously this is a lot bigger vehicle, as I said, and there is more storage. You can't get away from that on the Grand. So you've got your cupboards top and bottom here along the side, and then you've got your cupboards also down here below. So you've got plenty of storage that's in those as well. So storage in the Ocean wise, we've got our big deep drawer underneath here. That's probably something like the equivalent of one of the cupboards in the area of the Grand. And then we've obviously got the space under here. Move this out of the way for a second. You've got all your space under here. There's probably at least 1 or 1.5 cupboards worth of space. So the way I kind of think of it is your cupboards that you've got in the back of the Grand, which are in the bottom section that's in there. So you've got 2 cupboards, 1.5 cupboards that's in the back section that's in there as well. More than covers those particular 2 areas that's there as well. You've got your shelving, which is in your wardrobe section here at the back, and obviously wardrobe in the front section as well. And then you've got a bit of storage up here as well. So for all out storage on each of the vehicles between the two, I think actually volume wise, I don't think there's a great deal in it, if I'm honest. Obviously in the Grand the differences are you've got that walkway through, which that opens whole endless possibilities of things that you can store in there. So it's a lot easier to take things like portable barbecues away with you, even things like, for example, surfboards and stuff like that you might want to put in the vehicle, you want to put long ways in and things like that. So obviously from a storage point of view, the 600 outweighs it because of that extra bit that you can walk through in the back of it. Just thought I'd quickly touch on water. So obviously both vehicles have a fresh water tank, both vehicles have a grey water tank. Both those particular tanks are a lot bigger on the Grand compared to the Ocean, but they still have both functions, they still have both of those as well. And obviously gas supply, the Grand has the facility to put 2 gas bottles in, because obviously that boiler with having hot water and having the bathroom facilities can use more water from on there as well. So where the actual gas bottles on the Ocean is a smaller gas bottle, which is only powering your gas hob, which obviously lasts a very, very long time in that sense as well. But again, they've both got gas supplies, so they've both got those same functions. So what have we found out by looking at comparison between the two? Well, the two things that's obvious about the Grand is you've got that hot water that's there, which is really, really good and helpful, that's on there, and you've obviously got the bathroom facilities, which goes in hand with your toilet in there. So it's a lot more self-sufficient as a vehicle. But on the downside, it's a lot bigger as well to cope with those extra things that you've actually got in there size-wise. But then going over to the Ocean, obviously one of the big things for the Ocean is you can use this as your everyday vehicle. It's a little bit different using the Grand here as your everyday vehicle just because of the size of it. You know, if you're going to go shopping every day and things like that, but the Ocean or Coast Variation Beach model, you can use this as your everyday vehicle as well. And it obviously does have a slight difference on price as well, because you've got more options, because you can go from the beach all the way up to the Ocean. So costing wise, obviously there's a lot more price choice that's available within these vehicles as well. As with all vehicles, it's about what you plan to use the vehicle for. And they've both got pluses and negatives that we've been through today, and we've shown you the space. I think the big telling thing for me was how much space you actually have in the Ocean when you're actually sitting there in your living area, for example. You could probably argue it's slightly more space than what's actually in the Grand. But obviously the Grand has got a lot more things like that bathroom facility that's in there, the beds which are fixed to a certain extent that's there as well, where obviously with the Ocean you lose that bed space that's in there. Love to know what you think. Pop it in the comments box below. If you've got any things that we think we've missed out as well that you want to cover in a video, pop those in again as well soon. So thanks for watching today. Hope you've liked the video. If you have, give us a thumbs up, give us a like. If you don't subscribe, please subscribe, and we'll see you next time.